Welcome to the Indie Filmmaking Podcast. I'm missing my co-host today because he is at a wedding rehearsal because you can't stop love. But today's topics are being self-critical, the importance of finding people to critique your work, and we're going to return to the topic of film school versus being self-taught. So the first thing we're going to dive into is being hard on yourself. And I think that's easy for everybody. Because once you start on the journey of whatever it is you're doing, it doesn't have to be film, it can be other things as well. But when you start on that journey, you usually enjoy it a lot at the beginning. I know it is. That's the way it was for me. When I started things, I would always enjoy it. But then I would get to a point where things were starting to get a little harder. So you would have to kind of learn more than just having fun with it, because it becomes less of a hobby and more of a, hey, I want to make this my job. So everybody goes through this stage of being super hard on yourself. And maybe less as a kid, because I know when I was a kid, I wasn't that hard on myself. I thought everything I did was great. Now, as I get older and I watch those old things, it's very nostalgic, I ain't gonna lie. I mean, I do enjoy watching old stuff that I've made, but it's like, wow, I used to think that was good. And then it gets inside your head, like, maybe, when you get older, it kind of gets inside your head at the fact that, well, maybe I'm thinking the same thing. Like, the stuff that I'm making is good to me right now, but maybe 2 years down the road, it's gonna suck to me. So you're constantly becoming just more and more self-critical of yourself as time goes on. And I think that's a really bad way to go, because from most that I've read, and I've listened to a lot of other successful people talk, and they just say that consistency is the answer. You just got to keep doing it. You got to keep showing up. And I think that's super true. Super, super true. Because the moment that it stops being fun to you and you start taking it more serious, which is a good thing, I think it starts becoming more of a, I wouldn't say a job. I mean, it needs to be a job, like you're always going to do it, but it starts becoming more of a, I guess a hassle is a good word for it, because you just want to make something good and you're like, this needs to be changed, this needs to be changed. And eventually you just start spending so much time on one project that you never get past it. And you just constantly think that you suck. But you do need a level of confidence to begin a journey in a creative art. And that it does include film, because when I first started in film, I had a horrible camera, and I did upgrade very slowly, very, very slowly. First, it was a blue camera that recorded, no joke, it was probably like 480p. I think that's one, right? And it was super choppy. But I just thought it was the greatest thing that I had ever owned. And I was probably 13 or 14. But I just thought it was great. And now I did move up to like a camera that could shoot a little better resolution. So I kept thinking, well, this is great. And eventually you come to this point where none of that was great. And you realize it. And then it hits you like, is this what I'm thinking now? Like, I have a decent camera, but is it good enough? And eventually you start stepping away from your content and the thing that brought you to that hobby. And you start realizing, okay, maybe this ain't for me. But I think it's actually good that you think these things. That you think that, it's a good thing that you're thinking this isn't good, this isn't good, because you're starting to become more involved with that hobby, and you're becoming more dedicated to it. So of course you're going to be harder on yourself because you realize this is something I really, really like to do, and I want to get better at it. So it's a good thing that you're having these thoughts. And I think that you can be way too hard on yourself. And I think that gets in the way a lot. Because there was a time where I did write a zombie short film, Kill Me Now, because I know that every person that gets into filmmaking usually goes for a zombie movie. So I'm right there with you guys. But as I wrote that zombie film, it was about 45 pages, so it had been about a 45, 50-minute short film, and I was super proud of it. And after I got it done, I went out to shoot it, and it was very easy to get discouraged because there's so many things that can happen during your time of shooting. I mean, there's so much to film. You got the editing, you got the post, you got the pre-production, and all this. So when you start diving into it, you have to take it in chunks. You have to take it in just step by step, because if you put too much into your day, if you try to put too much in one day, it can really affect I think the mental process of your creating. Because that was the thing, was I was so excited to do these films and things, but I would try to get as much done as possible before I had to go back to work or I had to go back to school. So in the end, it just tired me out and it got me sick of doing it. So I think just setting aside some time will kind of make it easier on yourself and not make you so self-critical, because you're like, at least I showed up and did it. At least I did spend that hour shooting today, and then I'll spend an hour tomorrow shooting. And it gives you something to look forward to instead of just dreading doing it again because you feel like you're going to spend 10 hours. So you really have to realize that the more you do something, the better you're going to get. And even if you're having a bad day and you're being hard on yourself, just try to show up. Just still try to get out your camera, film something. Even if you have nothing written down, maybe write something down for 10 minutes. Just film something that day just to get back into the mode and get back into the mood of filming. I think that's super important because there's been a lot of books that I read that always say you're not going to feel like doing it every day. It's just the truth. You're not going to feel like 100% every day. So even if you're feeling 40% and you feel like you're not even going to make anything good, at least you still make something. That's all you can do. Is just still make something, because I think the more that you get your stuff out there, the more it becomes kind of routine, and it's less like, be honest with yourself. When you go work, let's say you get out of high school and you go work a stocking job, and you're not 100%. I know I wasn't. I'm never 100% when I go into work. So you kind of have to think like that when you're being hard on yourself as you go to film. You're not going to be 100% because it almost becomes a job. And it's still fun, like it's a job that you want, but it's just in our minds. It's programmed in your mind to think, like, I've done this so much that it kind of starts getting old at some point. But you just need that fire. You need that fuel that made you start, that made you want to start filming. You just need that kick, because you don't want to lose it. Now I'm going to switch over to a clip that we made this week. It's a short clip, so I hope you guys like it. Now, the thing with finding people to critique your work, that is super, super important because if you don't have somebody telling you, hey, this could be this way, or I didn't like this, because it could be somebody that's not even remotely anywhere near wanting to film, that's never used a camera, that just is an audience member that you just want somebody's opinion, whether they like your stuff or not. They might not be able to give you the most critical or the most detailed opinion, and sometimes it is good to have those kinds of opinions and just have somebody tell you in detail what they liked and what they didn't. But just having somebody, a friend, a coworker, anything, just somebody to ask, hey, are you able to watch this and give me some feedback? Is this something that you would watch in your spare time? Things like that. Because I think everything that we make, we want it to be great, and sometimes it's not. Like, there's been so many things that I've made that's been terrible, and people said that they would watch it, or just some things that they said that it was great. And then later on down the road, I'm like, that was not great at all. That was terrible. But finding people that are honest, that'll give you their best feedback, is the way to go. You don't want somebody that's going to give you the positive feedback every time. When I show somebody something, I don't want positive feedback all the time. I want some negative feedback. I want to know what's going on. Like, if there's something that you don't like, I want to know, because I might not know. I might think it's great. I might shoot something, I might think, man, this could be a movie from Marvel. That's probably never going to happen. But, there's sometimes that you think what you're making is really, really good, and it may not be. So you want to find ways to make it better. You could still keep the same ideas, but just having those critiques and people saying like, hey, I like these parts, you keep these parts, and then you've got some bad parts that they might not have liked, and so you'll change those, and you'll try to fix it, not to just that one person's opinion, but just finding multiple opinions. Once you fix the mistakes that they said that you had in the first one, then you can send it to somebody else and be like, hey, did you like this? I changed this part. And eventually you'll have something that's cohesive and very good. But sometimes you don't always have people to critique your work, and that can be that can kind of suck too, because then you're just on a road lone wolf. You're lone wolfing it out there, running through the dark, through the trees. People's aiming at you, ready to shoot you down, and you don't even know it. So then you post stuff, and people give you HE double hockey sticks, guys. You know what I'm trying to say. Whew. But it is true. You need people to critique your work. That was a major, major thing when I went to school for film, was that we all sat around and watched each other's projects, and then we would give our feedback and say what we liked and what we didn't like. And it helped so much. Like, I didn't think it would help that much, but it did. Because there were some things that I didn't even think of, like different shots that I could have done that I didn't think of when I was making the short film, that people were pointing out to me, and I was, you can't be that guy that's like, well, if you're going to put me down, you wait until we watch yours. I was that guy. You say mine sucks? Yours sucks too, huh? No, I wouldn't. But I did. I took people's feedback and I used it, and I think it helped me 100%. So please find people that will watch your projects and just give you honest feedback. I think that's really, really important. Next segment is film school versus being self-taught. This is part 2 because we touched on this a little bit in the first podcast, but I wanted to jump back to it, just give a more detailed explanation of it. So when I attended film school, I'd seen on their website that they had all sorts of projects they were working on, like Captain America. They may have had one on there. It was like a lot of Marvel stuff. They might have had a Harry Potter. And it's very possible, very, very possible that some of these students had went there and maybe worked on them. I don't know. I mean, it is very possible. But they made it sound like if you went to this school, that everything would be taken care of. And I realize that it does come with hard work. Like 100%. You have to work hard to get to those places. But what I didn't appreciate was a lot of film schools, I feel, are money grabbers. They just want, I mean, that's a lot of schools because they're so expensive, but going to film school will help keep you on track. There are pros to it because you have access to the teacher's knowledge, and a big part, if you listen to people that are successful, that'll tell you discipline. Discipline is a major key in becoming successful because you're telling yourself, I'm going to do this. Every day I'm going to do this. I'm going to show up. So college helps guide you in that way because they got a curriculum that will, but they got a curriculum that will put you on the right path to learning things in order, learning things in steps. Because when you learn on your own, you're also conflicted on what to learn first. That was a big thing with me. I knew things I wanted to learn, but eventually you get to a point where it's kind of hard to decide what you need to learn next. So that is a major plus for film school because, they've got it set up in a way that you're learning things the way they think you should learn it. But being self-taught is a whole different thing. I feel like a lot of people are going in that direction because there's so many resources now. Back before I went to film school, I watched a lot of tutorials and I learned a lot of things. I learned the basics of After Effects. I could go a little bit further with it, but not much. I learned the basics as in cutting videos, green screening. I knew how to, match audio from an external recorder to the camera audio. So I knew a lot of things going into film school. And when I got there, I realized real quick that a lot of people didn't know the basics. There was just people there that had a vision of wanting to become a filmmaker, but had never dived into anything about it. So maybe film school was good for them, but if you're very eager on learning your own before you even go to college, I think, the first few years you'll probably be disappointed just because you'll probably know most of the stuff. And I just felt like when I went to college, I was wasting my money because they were teaching me things that I already knew. And that's with a lot of colleges. If you go into, it's like if you want to become an artist and you go in there and they talk about color theory and you've been studying color theory for forever. So you already know it. So you feel like you're going to art class, but you're not getting what you're paying for because you already know these things and they're available to you on the internet. Where school, I think, comes in handy is that the discipline factor. You have to show up to get your degree. There's something there for you. And when you're self-taught, it's like there's no reward at the end of your journey. It's just progress. You can kind of see the progress over time, but not like school, because you know for a fact after those 4 years, you're going to get a piece of paper in your hands that's going to help get you jobs. And I think that's like a major thing, because that was a big reason I wanted to go to school, was because I wanted to get that piece of paper. I wanted to say, hey, I take this very seriously. Here's some proof. But, I don't know if people take degrees very seriously when it comes to art. I'm sure some people do, because I've seen a lot of jobs that require it. But it seems to me that it depends on what you're wanting to do. If you have enough motivation, if you have enough determination, I think being self-taught is completely fine. I think that you can make it 100%, because there's just so much resources, and you're going to learn a lot of the free videos you find on YouTube, or even if you get a course online for even $100. I think you could learn just as much off those as you can at film school. The thing I did like when I went to film school was there was times where it wasn't a part of the lesson, but if I was filming something outside of school, I could go to a teacher and I could say, hey, I'm filming this part of the movie and I would really like your opinion. Or I could say, how would you shoot this? Or how would you add this effect? And that was the biggest benefit, to be honest, was just being able to go to somebody and say, hey, I need help on this part of the movie. But I know there's a lot of people out there that was like me when I was younger, that you thrive off of learning things on your own, and you enjoy being able to find out things by yourself. And you're not always going to be able to find everything out by yourself, but if you have that passion for what you're doing, then just continue doing it. And when it gets to that point where you feel like you need school, then maybe look into school. But I think being self-taught is completely fine. I think you can learn just as much. If you do take classes, I wouldn't expect, if you've done film for a while and then you do take classes, don't expect much out of the first year or two. But that's what's really any college too. It just matters. The one thing I wish I was told before I went into school, because schools are it's almost like a credit card. Like, yeah, here's your credit card. We'll just give you this money, and then later on you pay for it. Like, you don't realize it until you get a little older, because you think you're doing a good thing, because everybody says go to school. And that's exactly what I thought. Even when I was just starting out in high school, I knew I wanted to go to college, and I thought that this was the best way to do it. And I wish I would have waited a little bit and just thought it out. But yeah, if you're debating between school or just teaching yourself, I would just try out some courses and see where that takes you. Because most of the time, it's just about your content. Just have good content, have something people want to see, and I think you can do fine. I've been rocking the DSLR camera setup for a while. I have a Zoom H4n, I believe, with a boom mic and all that, and I mean, it's been working out great for me. And these are all things that you can learn online. I just don't want you to waste money or make the mistake that I did by going to film school and realizing that it's not for you. So yeah, I think that's a big thing to think about when you're starting your film journey, or if you've already started and you've been doing it for a while and you're thinking of film school, or you're thinking of just keeping to yourself. Here's what I'll say is, don't let this question push you into film school, which is, nobody's viewing my stuff, maybe I should go to film school. to learn how to upgrade my quality. Well, that sounds bad, because if you're doing it for the quality, that's great. But don't feel like because you're not getting views, just switch up your content and make it, try to make it different. Try to grow, because even if you go to school, you're going to grow there. You're going to grow if you're just watching tutorials. Any other way you're going to grow. You know what you want out of your videos. If you started your filmmaking journey and you feel like you need that extra help, then find other people that are also filmmaking and just bring them into the picture. And they may know things that you don't, and they'll probably know things that they probably will know things that you don't. You'll probably know things that they don't. And I think that's super important, just collaborating and learning off of each other. All right, guys, we're gonna watch a sci-fi short film now, and I'm gonna give some opinions on it. Not like my opinion really matters, but I pulled up a new sci-fi short film that just came out. It's called Fish Out of Water. It's by the Huskins brothers, and I'll go ahead and read the description here. So it's a lonely traveler on a desolate highway. Probably butchered that. Has a brief encounter he will never forget. The project was filmed in just 2 days. That's pretty impressive. It's hard to film in 2 days. With a crew of only 2 people and no budget. So that's also very impressive. Just 2 people. That's also very hard. So, if you want to check out this video for yourself and give them a like, please do. This one's called Fish Out of Water. So let's go ahead and start this. I'll try to explain what's going on throughout the film here. Film just started. Okay, that's I really like the first shot there with the moon and the puddle. It looks like they've shot this in black and white, so unless I just went colorblind. Black and white's usually really hard to pull off, so this is cool.
Don't touch the glass. Please.
So, you got a long night ahead, huh? I feel you, man. I feel you. It sucks. It sucks. I'm free to walk out those doors and go wherever I want. You're stuck here all night. If I were you, I'd probably kill myself.
Is that all?
Can I get a bag?
So I actually like the acting in this. Pretty good. Acting seems pretty legit. The Aussies are really good. I'm wondering if they actually made the sign. That'd be kind of cool, because it had like a UFO picture on it and things stuck to it, so maybe they did. And I like the little cow keychain. I think that's what that is, or the thing that hangs from the mirror.
Friday night is bingo night at Joe's Barbecue. Veterans play for free. Bring your own bingo.
You're listening to 51.1, Area 51's home to wild, weird, and wonderful Wednesdays. I'm Rod Starling, and tonight, you guessed it, we're talking about UFOs. Let's take another caller. Tommy is a believer calling from a trailer park, I assume. Tell me, Tommy, how many teeth do you have?
Thanks for having me on the show. I'm a big fan.
Okay, tell me, why are these all-knowing and technologically advanced alien creatures so infatuated with the redneck rectum?
Well, I don't know anything about that.
Oh, so you've never been probed?
No, but I definitely don't think we're alone in the universe.
All right, Tommy.
Body shit on litter.
Do you
That's
fish?
it.
Only for compliments, Tommy.
Well, I fish often. And sometimes catch a little yuppie. It's not worth keeping. You toss it back in the water. Now think of that little fish, the ones you toss back. They were suddenly ripped out of their environment and shown a glimpse of a world unknown to them. A world bigger and broader than they had ever seen. Now they return to the water and probably try to tell their little fish friends what they saw out there. They wouldn't believe it. But that fish, that little fish...
Okay,
just
so
tried
service
to show them
connection's
that
been lost.
what's about to-
Looks like he's driving out in the middle of nowhere here. Okay, I did like that effect. That's it.
They describe flying saucers.
That's a really cool
exactly
effect. I like how the light just
and
hit.
How can we
all of a
expect
sudden.
that to be the truth when they're just regurgitating what the entertainment industry has been telling us for their life? Come on, it's fiction. They're delusional. Period. That's very interesting insight. Thanks for calling. All right, our next caller.
So whoever made the UFO effect, I actually really liked that. It was pretty cool.
Are you there?
Yeah, hi. I just wanted to say that I think all this abduction stuff is nonsense. When I hear these people make outrageous claims, I mean, really? I think it's a cry for help.
Turn left, make a U-turn, continues recalculating.
That's pretty sick.
Well, we may never find the answers to the great mysteries of the universe. But you know you can always find interesting stories here at 51.1. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Good night.
Don't touch the glass. Please.
Yeah, the effects on this is like superb. I really like that shot too. That's a good ending shot. Oh, that's cool too. Sweet. Yeah, I actually really enjoyed that. Whoever did the effects on that did an awesome job. Directed, edited, and video effects by Isaac Huskins. Good job, Isaac. Fish Out of Water. That was super good. Isaac Huskins. That was excellent. I really enjoyed that. If you guys want to follow these people, their channel is the Huskins Brothers, I do believe, and that was their sci-fi short film, Fish Out of Water. So I think we're going to end this episode. If you want us to view your video and critique it, we'd be happy to do that, because just like this episode, I was talking about critiques. It's super important to get critiques, even if it's from me and I have no idea what I'm talking about. Maybe it's a good thing, but I really enjoy film. If you want to send us a clip, we'll be happy to view it and put it on the channel and give you give you credit for it. So please send in any video that you want. You don't even have to be the one that made it. Maybe you just found something funny online, and we'll view that as well. So I hope you guys take care. Thanks for watching this episode. We'll be back with another episode of this podcast. Have a good one, guys.